Joining us now is News Corp columnist Angela Mollard. Angela, it's great to see you.
Great to see you too, Gabriella.
Prince Harry, he's appeared on Stephen Colbert's show where he took aim at Donald Trump and he was even booed for it. Listen to this.
Hold on. Look, I wouldn't say we're obsessed with royalty.
Really? I heard you elected a king.
That's a fair point. No, he's got a point.
Okay, so listen. So what's a real prince got to do to get into a Hallmark movie these days?
Well, what can you do?
I've got skills. I can ride a horse.
Okay.
I can fly a helicopter.
Okay.
I can ride a horse in a helicopter.
I'd like to see that, but look, Harry, this is about show business. It's all about who you know. I mean, do you have a personal connection to any famous TV actresses?
I might know one.
Angela, of course he had to mention Meghan Markle. Imagine the trouble he would be in if he didn't mention Meghan Markle. Of course, she's desperate to be involved. She shared a behind-the-scenes clip. Look at this.
So if you was treated like a king for the day, what would you want me to do for you?
Beg for me, probably.
You'd want me to do what? Beg?
Beg. Beg.
Beg?
B-A-K. Beg.
What?
Bake.
Oh, bake!
I mean, it is so cringe. What's your reaction? What do you make of all of
Look,
this?
it's highly scripted. He was booed at times, he was cheered at times, but the fact is that 2 years ago when he went on the show, the Stephen Colbert show got the highest ratings in the 2-year period. So of course they want him back. The messaging was that he was passing through New York. I did a deep dive. This is Harry and he just did this on the side. This was definitely not on the side. This is very much the key performance thing. He wants this profile, and Meghan, more to the point, wants to be part of this kind of high-level, high audience that, you know, she's not getting for her Netflix shows and she's not getting for her various endeavours. But look, what I'm interested in is where these two are going to go in their directions, because she's very influencer. He's very much leaning into his connections, but also doing some quite good work. I thought his Remembrance Day letter and his recollections of Britain. I think Harry's kind of dividing opinion at the moment, but of course Meghan is still deeply unpopular.
Of course she is. Now, Prince Harry's had a win. Prince Harry has won a full security risk assessment following a major U-turn by the Home Office. So Prince Harry brought a high-profile legal claim against the government over the decision to remove his right to automatic taxpayer-funded security. Angela, what do you make of this? Could this actually pave the way for Harry to return to the UK with his children?
Yeah, absolutely could. And the implications of this are manifold. One is that Harry's been very tenacious. He wouldn't let this go, even though the court sort of overruled it. So he personally wrote to the Home Secretary to look at his security level. This was last done in 2018, and it was found that he was the highest security risk alongside two other people, and those two people were the Queen and the then British Prime Minister Theresa May. So he genuinely has a case for it being assessed. What will be interesting is with the new, and that would of course have been because of his military work as well. That would have led to that high level ranking. What I think will happen will be very interesting to see what his security risk will, you know, if he was 7 then, will he be 2 or 3 now, or will he still be up at 6 or 6 or 7? If he is up there, then it's going to really require a sort of overview of whether he does have security when he comes to the UK. If in fact he then gets it, as you point out, will it then be incumbent on him to bring Meghan and his grandchildren? Because that's always been his reason for not bringing them back. And I think the fact that Thomas Markle is in hospital and the whole relationship breakdown there, it's more important than ever that Harry's being seen to engage with Britain and the family that he was, you know, born into and raised with.
Meanwhile, Meghan Markle, she's still pushing ahead with her Netflix series, but she's being warned that her With Love Meghan series may actually be coming to an end after a series of negative reviews. What are your thoughts on the series? Do we think it's going to come to an end soon?
Look, there becomes a point when you do royal commentary like me and you have to watch this stuff. So I actually had to watch the show, and it is nauseating. It is basic. This is an advent calendar. You put little treats in the pockets. I mean, honestly, Meghan is so dumbed down in this. She's so ever smiling. It feels unauthentic. You know, and Naomi Osaka, who is a guest on the show, it's someone she clearly has no relationship with. It's incredibly awkward. But what you speak to, the bigger point, of course, is that will this ongoing relationship with Netflix continue? I reckon by this time next year, that'll be dead in the water.
Yeah, interesting. Now, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, let's talk about him. Of course, Andrew and Sarah Ferguson are set to make their first public appearance since Andrew was stripped of his royal titles. Now, this is happening on Friday as their granddaughter is being christened. That's Athena, Princess Beatrice's second daughter. Now, it's understood that King Charles was invited to the event, but he's not expected to attend.
We don't quite know who's going to attend it. This is leaked to one of the papers in the UK. I think what will be interesting, of course, Andrew and Fergie have to be there. They're the grandparents of this child, but this will be, as you say, the very first time. And this is going to set the way for how the royals interact. Will the king go? I mean, it would be legitimate for him not to, because, you know, he's not a direct relative of this baby. But there will be other members of the royal family there, you would like to imagine. I would very much think that Princess Anne, for instance, would probably be there as Beatrice's auntie, that sort of thing. But how they interact going forward, and this speaks to Christmas and Christmas in years to come and other royal events. Will we see pictures? It's at St James's Palace, which you don't normally get a lot of a look in, but how this is reported afterwards and how Andrew goes into it. Imagine this, you know, it's his granddaughter. Of course he wants to be there, but he is persona non grata. Not, you know, he's a member of the royal family, but, you know, they cannot be seen, as we've seen previously at the royal funeral, where we saw William and Andrew next to each other, and William was desperately trying to avoid eye contact with Andrew, and I think that will be going forward.
Oh, absolutely. And Angela, the Duke's course in St Andrews, named after former Prince Andrew, is going to be rebranded.
It's Duke's golf course in Scotland near Fife, and that is going to be called Craig Town. It's reverting to where it belongs. They don't want any association with the Duke, and we know Prince Andrew's a mad keen golfer, but there's all these tiny honorary positions around that we don't really, you know, don't get a lot of attention, but they're going to continue to just drop off until he has virtually nothing.
Now, Buckingham Palace has released King Charles and Queen Camilla's official 2025 Christmas card, featuring a photo taken to mark the couple's 20th wedding anniversary earlier this year. Now, this marks the 4th Christmas card released since Charles became king. Royal watchers have noticed something, though, Angela. They've noticed that the brooch that Camilla is wearing. Can you talk to us about that?
That's right. It's a Lily of the Valley brooch, and it belonged to the late Queen Mother. She was given it by the Russian president back in the 1950s. And what it signifies is endurance, blissful marriage, a reawakening after a time of difficulty and pain. So lots being read into that. She was also wearing the earrings that she wore on her wedding day, which of course they celebrated their 20th anniversary this year. But I think what's also interesting, the photo was taken in Rome, of course. Now that's a signal that how much that visit meant to the king. That was earlier this year. It's not a particularly festive card, but what it's very much signalling is we are together, we are very united, and we're very happy.
Now, Angela, I have to get your thoughts looking back at the year that's been. Do you have a winner or a loser?
My winner would be the king, because not only is he doing superbly well, we seem to, you know, he's back to a full program of events, but of course is living with cancer, but also his decisiveness around the Andrew issue. That could have flim-flammed for weeks and months. It didn't. He came and stripped him of his titles. Then, of course, we lost the prince and he became Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. If he wants to protect the monarchy, he had to act that decisively. So he would be my winner. Now you're going to ask me my loser, aren't we?
Yes, of course.
Is there any guesses? Look.
With A?
It does start with A. Look, Andrew, that's him done. He is never going to have any position of any note, and he's only a man of 65. He could live for another, 30 years, and the ignominy, we, of course, is still going to see the Jeffrey Epstein papers. They're still filtering out whether or not there's a court case, whether there's a British court case over the issues around security. There's so many elements of this still to play through, but in terms of, as we were talking about the christening for Beatrice, very, very hard for his daughters, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Now, looking back at the year, what about the craziest media moment?
My craziest media moment is the adulation of Robert Irwin by the Americans. They have absolutely taken him on, from Dancing with the Stars, which he of course won. The New York Times profiled him. He is a 22-year-old man. He is going to be our biggest export. Gorgeous guy, lovely personality, but what the decisions he makes next year in terms of what he does, I think will be really interesting, because everyone will want a piece of him. Of course, he's aligned with Prince William on the Earthshot Prize. He's an ambassador, and we saw William gave that very personal message to him. I think Robert Irwin is going to be a global superstar.
Well, we have a clip of Robert Irwin. Let's just take a look.
I got an opportunity to do something I never thought I would get to do on a dancing show, but I got to say thank you to the most important people in my life, my family. You know, I got to dance a performance dedicated to my mum. We had a song that my sister danced to as well, that she dedicated to my dad, that I, did the same and got to pay homage to my sister and to my dad. And it has been such an emotional process, really. But I think coming into it, I really wanted to honour the reason why I'm here. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not a dancer. I don't wear sequins. It's not what I love it. I've embraced it, but I am a wildlife conservationist. I'm an Irwin. I mean, I continue what my dad started.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? I love it. He says, I'm an Irwin. Angela, I have to get your thoughts looking ahead to 2026. What's the biggest challenge for the royal family?
Two. First one is how they, if they want to reintegrate Harry and Meghan, if that comes to that. Obviously, we've had that meeting, Harry met with his dad, and we'll be thinking that they may grow that relationship quietly, and whether William and Harry may in fact spend some time together at some stage. I'm not betting on it, but it's going to be a question that's constantly asked. But my real challenge, I think, is Prince George. He turns 13 next year. There's still discussion about whether he's going to go to Eton like his father. The Times is reporting that it's going to be Marlborough College, where Kate went to school. But of course, in the age of social media, we have our own social media ban coming into effect. But of course, Britain doesn't. So lots of kids of 13 have phones. How do you manage that when you are the Prince and Princess of Wales and you're bringing up the next king with, the level of surveillance that he's going to be under as he goes through his teens? So if I was his parents, I would be seeing that as the challenge for the royal family.
Oh, absolutely. Angela Mollard, thank you so much.
Thanks so much.